Alotau camp confident. Political analyst says people's needs first. And agency heads condemn doctors' actions.
This is National EMTV News with Hope Imaka.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Wednesday's news. The government camp from Alotau is confident of retaining Peter O'Neill as Prime Minister come Friday. Boasting the support of over 80 members, Leader for Government Business James Marape says they are committed to political stability. He says for those calling for a change, particularly the politicians and the unions, should wait until the elections next year. Meanwhile, National Alliance Party leader Patrick Pruitt says the party is committed to being part of a PNC-led government. He says any deviation from this commitment does not represent the party's interest. Yesterday, the founding father of National Alliance, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, announced his allegiance to the opposition camp during a reconciliation ceremony with opposition members in Port Moresby. The choice on the vote of no confidence this Friday should be based on what the people want. This is from Prof. Sam Curry, a political author and analyst who has written 3 books about PNG's constitution and politics. He says regardless of who is Prime Minister, political leaders must remain true to the constitution and democracy.
Professor Curry's books cover the political development of PNG. He says as a democratic country, our leadership must reflect the values of democracy.
That idea of integrating our traditional leadership into the Westminster systems, I hope it's going to change. Because true Westminster system of government is one that respects the people. True democracy is one that listens to the people. And you are servant of the people.
With the upcoming vote of no confidence, he says it will be a test on the type of political leadership we have.
It's a vote to test the diligence and value of the leaders that we have. It's not necessarily who forms the government, but it's about demonstrating. The leaders will have to demonstrate whom they represent.
He says past votes of no confidence has shown that politicians have not been loyal to party politics as well.
You see what's happening now? Half of the members of the parties are on either side. So it's not about party now. It's not about the party now. It's about personal.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Former Prime Ministers of Papua New Guinea yesterday joined the call for Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to step down. The call was made at the reconciliation ceremony at the opposition camp at Laguna Hotel in Port Moresby. The ceremony saw opposition member Ben Micah apologize to pioneers Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, Sir Julius Chand and Sir Mekere Morauta for not heeding their counsel in the past.
The reconciliation was for the 4 former Prime Ministers, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, Sir Julius Chen, Sir Mekere Morauta and Pius Winti. It was done in the New Island way with food presented to the leaders, including for the notably absent Governor for Western Highlands, Pius Winti. Opposition leader Don Polye said the pioneer leaders were invited to show the way by sharing their knowledge and guidance. Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare said this was the first time the leaders had decided to come together and raise their voice.
The government has seen itself fit to do things. They have been running the government for 3 years now, but there are things which are not correct in our way of thinking. I'm sure that Sir Mekere, Sir Julius will say the same thing. We believe that the direction that we are taking is wrong.
Sir Mekere said the current government had given him no hope for the future.
I call on Prime Minister O'Neill to stand down immediately. stand down immediately and subject himself to the due processes of law. He should resign before Friday.
Sir Mekere said if Prime Minister O'Neill does not resign, all members of Parliament should put the nation first by supporting an alternate Prime Minister. Sharing similar sentiments, Sir Julius Chen said his position was simple and firm, that he stands for the good of the nation, for the good of his province, and for the good of the people.
But if government wins, the Prime Minister, Peter O'Neill, should step aside now. Act with honor. Think of the country, not personal power. If the opposition wins, I say this, Ron, and all your leaders, young leaders, if you win, I say, do not cast aside all those across the aisle on the other side. Instead, declare formation of a government of national unity. A government of national honor. Bring the best people from both sides.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister O'Neill welcomed the move by Sir Julius to join the opposition, saying the nation and the government thanks him for his service. However, the Prime Minister said the global challenges faced in the country today are different from past decades. The Prime Minister said this government is fixing up the legacies of the past and restoring infrastructure that had been left to decay and government systems that had been run down. Deli Waigeno, National, EMTV News.
Health Secretary Pasco Kase and Public Service Secretary John Kali held a joint news conference this afternoon condemning the actions of national doctors. Some doctors have proceeded with their strike action following demands to the government. The health authorities have appealed to the doctors to return to work.
The health secretary met with the chief medical officers, who are also the specialist doctors, and warned them that it is illegal to stop work and demand the resignation of Prime Minister. Kase said that industrial disputes must be conducted according to relevant rules, and the health sector awards and health unions such as the National Doctors Association should not mix politics with staff welfare. Kase warned medical officers that they will face disciplinary actions if they don't go to work, as it will also breach their contract of employment.
Our meeting is now being proposed, and we are inviting the executives of the national doctors and all our health unions for us to meet next week. So myself and Secretary Kali and also the Chief Secretary will be meeting with the executive to go through this process again, so people can understand that we are ready to listen. We don't jump the gun to the conclusions too early, that we are all citizens of a country, but we are employed by an employer. And
on Friday, the National Doctors Association presented their petition demanding the Prime Minister to step aside and for the government to implement the NDA awards in the medical faculty. Public Service Secretary John Kali said he will be taking the matter of the awards up to UPNG Vice Chancellor in order to secure funding. He said in regard to the political issue raised in the petition, he won't comment, as the National Parliament will decide on the vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister.
We all know there's going to be a vote that's going to take place on Friday, so why take up this course when the politicians have already resolved that they're going to address this issue on the floor of Parliament on Friday.
Meanwhile, the National Doctors Association stood firm that their members are exercising their democratic and constitutional rights to freedom of assembly, speech and movement, but said they won't force their members to stop work or turn up to work. NDA General Secretary Dr. Sam Yokopua told EMTV News that it is not a strike but civil disobedience, which is allowed by the Constitution. Kali refused the statement, saying that if they talk about matters that does not affect them, then they are talking politics.
So the NDA is a power and responsibility under the laws and its constitution to make demands on the employer, but only in respect of industrial matters. And industrial matters are those things that affect the working conditions of doctors, pay, allowances, and so on and so forth.
Fasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
EMTV National News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Former Lands and Physical Planning Secretary Romili Kilapat and his co-accused will stand trial at the Waigani National Court next month. They were ordered by the Waigani Committal Court to check the National Court Registry for listings on August the 8th. Kilapat and his co-accused, Simeon Andrew and Vavine Walo, allegedly misappropriated over 200,000 kina from the Land Reform Trustee account.
Last month, the Committal Court found sufficient evidence to commit the three accused to a higher court. Based on the evidence presented, the court found that on 3rd September 2015, Kilapat was suspended as Lands Secretary following an NEC decision. However, 11 days after his suspension, Kilapat allegedly approved a 280,000 kina check on the 14th of September 2015. He was alleged to have committed the offense with Andrew and Walo. Following the verdict, the three accused were given time to respond to the Committal Court verdict. However, today they declined that opportunity. Co-accused Vavine Walo was the Lands Department's Finance and Budget Manager, while Simeon Andrew was the then Corporate Director when the alleged offense was committed. All three were present in court this morning with their lawyers when they were committed. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The residential units of electrical company Eltec went up in flames today in the nation's capital. Black smoke could be seen from the Baroko business area. The cause of the fire is yet to be established. However, there were no casualties. Waigani Fire Services were first to arrive at the scene, but were unable to save the property.
Today, another residential area in the nation's capital went into flames. EMTV understands this is the 6th building that has gone up in flames in the last 2 months. The fire that started at midday today couldn't be contained to save the unit, as only one fire truck from Waigani had responded.
The call actually was received, sent through Waigani, and Waigani responded because Boroko, the truck is defected, and so Waigani responded all the way from Waigani, and they arrived here, and they, started operation.
After the second fire truck from Geruhu arrived, the fire was contained, saving vehicles and other equipments around the burning units. Waigani Station Commander Farpo was satisfied with the work of the firemen and women because they were able to contain the fire before it caught on to nearby homes.
Unfortunately, because of the distance, we were unable to get here on time, and we're trying to manage the situation, and its fire has gone down. All we're doing is protecting the exposures and ensuring that it does not get over to the next building.
Adelaide Xerox Kari, National EMTV News.
The District Court in Port Moresby is yet to hand down a verdict on the eviction of families living at Kermadec in the nation's capital. But this morning, families there were forcefully evicted. A National Housing Corporation representative explained to EMTV News that NHC was responding to a court order. But according to legal documents, the court decision is yet to be handed down.
Kermadec is a small community situated behind the Ella Beach Telecom Exchange Tower. It has 15 houses which are owned by NHC. There is also a settlement area just behind the NHC houses. Last night, the families here were told to evict the area because of a court order. Each of the 15 families that were living in the NHC houses were given 3,000 kina each in cash as funding assistance to move their properties out of the houses.
We've given them, since then, notice to vacate the premises. That's almost 2.5 years, more than 2.5 years. Now we're doing this eviction. It's a joint eviction with the health authority and the National Housing Estate.
According to NCD Health Division, this surrounding was condemned in 2014 and labeled as an unhygienic environment for people to live in, but families continue to live until today. The evicted families have raised a collective concern. They claim the eviction is illegal because the court is yet to hand down a verdict.
I still come give 3,000. This is 3,000 lol man mere emol give lol squatter settlers. Miblo legal tenants. Samla miblo no kisim. So where is justice? NHCL and prison court bla miblo. We have engaged a lawyer. It's on tomorrow. They know, and they have never taken any warrant of eviction. And yet, when the court process is on, all current police come, all come walking this kind.
The displaced Camera hostel, miblo legal tenants, miblo been sleep. One way the other, miblo sa pay rent, housing commission, and miblo sa staff.
Even though the court's decision is listed for tomorrow morning, the eviction went ahead today under a strong police watch. And for tonight, the evicted settlers say they will not be sleeping in their houses, but camping outside at Ella Beach. Takla Gunga, National, MTV News.
A multi-million kina state-of-the-art health facility will be built in Port Moresby by privately run health institution, the Pacific Medical Center. While launching the project model, Chairman Evan Parkey says this facility will boost the delivery of health services in the country.
Designs, procurement of materials, all happening, most of the work is happening outside of the country. As I said, we've got 4 teams working out of the US, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and here in PNG.
Following the launching of the project model by PMC Chairman Evan Parkey, MTV visited the proposed site today. This multi-million kina project covers a total land area of 2,000 hectares, which is part of state lands that PMC claimed to have had land titles and state leases.
As you can see down there where the road construction is going on currently right now, on the right side of the road you see the plains over there. That is where the Pacific Medical Center, the biggest hospital in the South Pacific, will be built.
Portions 2734 starts from Dogura along the Magi Highway and extends inland towards the fringes of Pacific Adventist University, Bautama and Buswara areas. Portions 2910 extend from Giboa towards the coast. Chairman Parkey said the project cost is valued at more than $150 million, which is over 500 million kina. In 2009, the national government, through its NEC decision, endorsed PMC to enhance health services by investing in the public health sector.
Previous government, it was approved, this project. 3 ministers brought a joint submission to Cabinet, the Minister for Health, the Minister for National Planning, and Minister for Treasury at the time, showing the across the government sort of embrace of the project.
According to PMC Project Master Plan, these lands will be developed into an emerald city. Project Manager Stephen Moses, speaking on the site, said the project is into its 3rd phase, which is mainly planning for the construction phase in October.
If you have bought the land already, my plea to you is to go and seek the landowners whom you have dealt with and tell them to repay your money, because it's a state land. The project is going to begin in October.
Eric Arupma, National MTV News.
Phase 3 of the Booker Ring Road upgrade and sealing will continue once documentation for tenders are finalized. The autonomous Bougainville Government's Technical Services Department has confirmed the remaining 35 kilometers will end at the northern tip of Booker Island. The project, to cost around 90 million kina, will proceed once funds are released from the national government.
The Buka Ring Road is one of the high-impact projects, which is over 124 kilometers, undergoing upgrading and sealing through phases. The final phase will begin at Cascades in the Halleck constituency to Kasa in the Haku constituency.
Phase 3, which is 35 kilometers, which will go as far as the end of the island towards the north at Kesa. That the funding from the national government, which is under the Special Intervention Fund allocation, is released so we can proceed with that.
Phase 1 is a 20 kilometers road that covers Malasang in the Chitalato constituency to Malis in the Hagogohe constituency.
It is a $36 million project done by contracted to Jomic Plant Hire Limited, and we are towards the final end of the project. The project now is 90% done, with a few bits and pieces to cover, including a bit of drainage and line marking, and to complete it.
10 kilometers is the second phase, covers Salasa in the Hagogohe constituency to Hagos in the Halleck constituency at a tune of close to 22 million kina. And contractor Rybro Construction Limited so far has done a great work improving the drainage system.
We improved the design for the road, incorporating all the drainages that will help this road last for quite a number of years, probably more than 20 to 30 years, so that it doesn't disturb the vehicles and the pedestrians too as well coming out from the road.
Footpaths for schools have also been incorporated in the Buka Ring Road upgrade and sealing. Meanwhile, Mr. Tup says awareness will be conducted to the communities to take responsibility because the road project will drive the economic activities by improving traveling time. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina opened unchanged at $0.3160 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3085 US, $0.4075 Australian dollars, $0.2769 euro, and 32.42 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, cocoa and copra closed lower, while gold and coffee closed the day lower. Higher. Palm oil and copper closed the day higher, while crude oil closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 25.96 points higher, the ASX closed at 21.05 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 16.53 points higher. We'll have more to come on National EMTV News after these short messages. Welcome back. Leh City Manager Roy Carmen says parking of highway trucks and other motor vehicles on pathways and other reserve zones in the city is illegal. But highway truck drivers and motorists are not taking heed of the City Council's laws and are using these spots as parking areas. Carmen adds the illegal parking is posing a risk to pedestrians walking on footpaths. Pedestrians are likely to get hit by a moving vehicle.
The Leh Urban Local Level Government has 19 laws, and Law Number 18 prohibits the use of public roads and reserved areas for vehicle parking. The law carries a fine of 500 kina if the offender is caught.
Areas where you see a lot of vehicles putting in containers, especially at Y2K Oval, some down at the main industrial area at the market, we give them an infringement notice. And it's a notice that is obtained from the court, and we give them. If they don't follow the notice, there's a charge of 500 kina.
Leh City Manager Roy Carmen says they have already started charging drivers who were caught parking in restricted areas. The council has issued about 20 notices out to individuals and firms who were using these reserved areas illegally as parking areas and loading and unloading bays.
since the beginning of this year, we have started to charge people.
The Leeben local level government has not followed any strategy to implement its laws since it was established in 1998 and amended in 2005. In 2015, the City Council decided to implement the city's 19 LULLG laws, and in making sure all its laws are policed effectively.
Law number 18, which deals with traffic and illegal parking, is one of the laws that we're trying to police up.
Illegal parking in the city has not only become a concern for the local authorities. Pedestrians, motorists, and the general public in the city are also raising concerns over the drivers' neglect in parking their vehicles at designated locations. Kamen is appealing to drivers to respect the law. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Leh.
Cheshire Home Disability Centre got a helping hand from Hope Youth Corps volunteers. The volunteers visited other disability centres in the nation's capital and helped around the Cheshire Home. The 13 volunteers are in the country to visit various parts of Port Moresby and Simbu.
Today, Hope Youth Corps volunteers gave free healthcare checks and helped out at the disability residential area. Hope Youth Corps, a program of Hope Worldwide, was established to allow high school and college students to take part in service learning programs.
And Hope Youth Corps is when people from university, from high school, and even when they're working, get together, travel the world, travel to all these countries such as right now in Port Moresby, and we just go out and serve.
The Hope Youth volunteers later traveled to Simbu to also conduct voluntary work there.
Basically, what they're going to do in Papua New Guinea is to render health care, at the same time to build places, going to different clinics like in Konidubu, and one of them is a 9 Mile. Besides that, they're going also to highlands. In particular, we have the Gumini in Chimbu.
Cheshire Home Disability Centre Senior Resource Officer was thankful for the help from the HYC volunteers. She said the kids were always happy and grateful when they have visitors.
We normally have visits from, people coming here, and that's the same expression that they have. They are happy and they really enjoy their company. And yeah, it was fun. Yep.
Currently in the country, there are a total of 13 volunteers from Australia, USA, Philippines and Korea. Adelaide Sirokskari, National EMTV News.
Trukai Sports is up next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG boxer Thaddeus Katwa is currently in the Philippines, brushing up on his skills before the Olympic Games next month. He is under the watchful eyes of coaches Joe Alpha and Alan Nicholson.
Katwa was granted passage to the Olympic Games through a three-way qualification. Three-way qualifications are awarded to athletes who show promising potential in certain sports who miss out on qualifying through mandated Olympic qualification events. Katwa was announced as the successful nominee for the three-way sport a few weeks ago, and he says it's an opportunity he wants to make the most of. Katwa's Olympic journey started in April this year with fellow Pacific Games teammates Jonathan Keama, Charles Keama and Andrew Asaiga. His dreams of making it to Rio seemed over after losing to his Iraqi opponent in the Oceania Asian qualifiers in China earlier this year. Coach Alan Nicholson says he's not surprised that Katwa has made it to Rio, having had a successful year in 2015, winning gold during the Pacific Games and at the Youth Commonwealth Games. Katwa will train in the Philippines till 24th of July before they return to Port Moresby to join the rest of Team PNG, who is scheduled to leave for Rio on the 27th of July. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
With 16 days remaining till the opening of the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro, organizers are still busy ensuring city sites and venues are ready for the athletes and the 500,000 plus visitors who will flood the city for the Games. Despite the recent massacre in Nice, France, and health concerns on the Zika virus, officials have said the city is ready.
With just 20 days until the start of the Rio 2016 Olympics, Brazil and the city of Rio de Janeiro are rushing to get the beachside city and all its venues ready for the athletes and spectators who will flood the city in 3 weeks' time. More than 10,000 athletes from more than 200 nations are expected to compete in the Games, which will run from the 5th of August through to the 21st. The Olympics are also expected to attract as many as 500,000 foreign visitors. Officials have said the city is ready, even as concerns swirl about unfinished infrastructure projects, pollution, crime, the Zika virus and security concerns, which have been heightened following the truck massacre in France. Meanwhile, Papua New Guinea will be sending a confirmed team of 8 athletes to compete in judo, taekwondo, swimming, athletics, weightlifting and boxing. The event will be telecasted live on EMTV. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
8 nations are taking part in next year's OFC Under-17 Championship to be held in Papeete, Tahiti in February 2017. The preliminary stage winners Samoa joined the host and defending champions New Zealand, New Caledonia, Fiji, Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu. Group A is completed by a strong lineup of performers based on 2015 results, with semi-finalists Vanuatu and New Caledonia joining runners-up Tahiti. Papua New Guinea round up the group. In Group B, Fiji, Solomon Islands and Samoa will have the defending championships to contend with. Chukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back. SP Hunters coach Michael Marum has made one change for this weekend's round 20 clash against East Tigers in Port Moresby on Sunday. Huka Wartovo Puara moves into the halves to partner Ase Boas, shifting Atabina Wabo to the interchange.
Warren Blair gets a start at hooker while Silas Gahuna makes the interchange bench in the extended 20-man squad. Changes may still happen before the game depending on injuries, but this will be the side that will train and prepare for another must-win game against East Tigers. Watson Boys will be given another week off due to injury, while Noel Zemming, Henry Wan, Tuvi Lapan, Nixon Borana and Stagroth Amin have at least 2 to 3 weeks to recover. They will be taking on teams in the top 6 for the next 5 rounds, and it is important that the boys recover fully from injuries. Butler Morris has been given the starting role on the wings after an impressive performance last week, scoring his first try of the tournament. The Hunters will take on East Tigers this weekend at the National Football Stadium on Sunday. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Sports Minister Justin Chichenko has welcomed the announcement of the 2017 Rugby League World Cup draw. Chichenko particularly expressed his gratitude to the Australia and New Zealand Rugby League and Organising Committee for their faith in ensuring joint hosting for Papua New Guinea. He said this is not only a rugby league event, but an opportunity to showcase our country to the world. Chichenko was particularly impressed that the PNG Commonwealth draw would see them play United States and 2 European teams on home soil. With the PNG RFL Southern Zone trials currently underway, Director Guaibo Mairi says tournaments such as this lead to greater rugby league pathways. He said the number of women in league is also picking up, with 18 affiliates so far.
From these trial matches, the selected teams will represent Southern Region in the National Confederation Cup in late August. Being a male-dominated sport, the women's teams are, however, picking up well. And for these trials, a good number of these teams will be vying to get selected for the National Confederation.
It's slowly coming in, the women are slowly coming in. We will try to balance it off, but culturally and customary, women, it's a very big ask for women to play rugby, but we will try to get it introduced in certain societies and areas and maybe take off from there.
PNGRFL is also looking forward to host the National All-Stars Confederate following the National Confederation Cup. Myri says players from smaller competitions will have a bigger arena to showcase their skills and possibly venture into greater pathways.
Rugby league's become too big. We have to start doing it properly now, and this is one of the areas where PNGRFL has come very hard. And I take this time to thank the chairman, Sanders, and the CEO, Bob, for picking up that drive and pushing it down, right down from the top, the hunters level and the affiliate level.
Meanwhile, the men's trial matches continue today, while the women's trial matches will coincide with the last day of the trials tomorrow. Dineros Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends True Kai Sports. I'll have the weather details for the next 24 hours after these short messages.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, mostly fine tonight. Cloudy periods with chances of few showers tomorrow for Popondetta, for Kerema and Port Moresby. Some showers for Alotau and Popondetta, and fine and windy for Daru. In the Momase region, showers with occasional thunderstorms for Lae, few showers for Medang and Wewak, showers with rain and thunderstorms for Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands, occasional showers for Lorengau, showers with occasional thunderstorms for Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe and Kavieng, and showers with occasional thunderstorms for Buka. In the Highlands region, mostly fine, then patches of morning fog for Mount Hagen, Mendi, Wabek and Kundiawa, mostly fine with chances of late night showers, then morning fog for Goroka. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. The first, a strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerema to Yule Island to Hood Point to Milne Bay and all its islands to West New Britain, including CSE Islands, Dampier Strait and Finchafen through Vetis Strait to Long Island to Medang, Karkar Island to Bogia to Wewak and also Bougainville. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerema to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samurai Island, waters of Finchafen through Vetis Strait and Dampier Strait, CSE Islands to Long Island to Karkar Island, Medang to Bogia to Wewak to Aitape, and with waters of West New Britain and Bougainville, seas 2.5 to 3 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finchafen, seas 1 to 2.5 meters. Waters west of Aitape to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, and with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 1 to 2 meters. Waters of New Ireland and East New Britain, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas. In the Coral Sea, seas rough with southeast winds at 20 to 34 knots with gusts. In the Solomon Sea, seas rather rough with southeast winds at 20 to 25 knots, reaching 34 knots at times. At the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate to rough with southeast winds at 15 to 34 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate with southeast to easterly winds at 11 to 16 knots. And that's been the news, sports and weather for tonight, Wednesday the 20th July 2016. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, I'm Hope Imaka. Pleasant viewing. Good night.